Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Metal Magdalene with Jet right here on Metal Messiah Radio. Today I have a special guest with me. I have 9 of the Swedish metal band Wormwood. They're out of the Stockholm area, an area pretty rich in metal. Welcome to the show, 9.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, 9, now, were you born and raised in Sweden?
Yeah, not in Stockholm though. I'm from a small town outside of Stockholm, but I lived here for the 17 years or something.
Okay, so then what kind of shows did you guys grow up going to, or you personally grow up going to see? What kind of bands and stuff?
I was pretty late going to shows. I mean, one of my first shows was in '98. I saw Iron Maiden in Gothenburg with, I think it was... I'm not sure if it was Halloween as a band as well. But yeah, I was pretty late going to bands, actually. I have no idea why. I've always listened to music, but I'm from such a small town that there weren't any bands close by. And the closest was Stockholm. And I was pretty far away. So.
And like you know, we were talking about earlier, Wormwood is... The band itself is fairly new. Like we were saying, you guys, of course, have all been in other bands leading up to this. Just starting out in 2014. So tell us why you wanted to form this band and the current lineup.
At the moment, 2014, I have another band called Withershin. We have been playing since 2006. But we are a bit on a... old at the moment because of reasons. And 2014 I was also in a power black band called Lyrically. So I just sent into a website like that I was looking for something new to try, something I never tried before. And then Ryd Same, the guitarist, contacted me and said that he had like this rock band which they wanted some black metal vocals. I said sure, why not? And from there, we all joined up, and after a year or so, we came up with the sound we have now. That we started off as a black and rock band, and then got into this kind of atmospheric folk black, whatever it is now.
And last year, you guys released an EP called The Void. The first time people heard music from you all, tell us the story lyrically behind this EP.
The stories, there are 4 songs and 2 ambient songs, but it's more or less stories from the north here in Sweden, well, Scandinavia, and old folk tales, really obscure ones that we translated into lyrics, and some are true, some are not true. It's up for everyone to decipher it and make up their own mind. It's everything from shipwrecked sailors who got dragged down by some monstrous being from the waters to cults out in the forests of Sweden, and it has a bit of everything.
And what was some of the feedback that you guys had gotten back, being that is your first musical release?
Well, it cost $0 to make. So, I mean, the sound wasn't top-notch because we all made it ourselves.
Sure.
So the quality wasn't that good, but overall, I think people really enjoyed it. We started to get people from all over Europe saying that they really liked our sound. It was kind of fresh to hear something different for once. And yeah, I mean, it didn't really take, Europe by storm or anything, but it slowly did, a little bit at least. So it's only been good, more or less. When it comes to how it sounds like, though, the quality is understood.
So have you thought of, like, maybe remastering it at all? Somewhere down the line, maybe?
Maybe, it's really not what we sound like anymore. So
right.
We might just close that chapter. It will be there for, archaic revisions or something.
So at this point, did you guys plan on releasing a full length?
You mean during 2000?
Right. I mean, after you did the EP, usually that's the next thing in mind, or where you're like, well, let's see how this EP goes through, and then we'll see what we want to do as far as pursuing our career with this band.
Yeah, I mean, we had more songs, but we didn't want to make a full release yet because we wanted more strong songs, really. Mm-hmm. So I can't remember, but I think we almost had at least 80% done of the new songs. So we just wanted to release this, didn't really, think so much about it, and then we started to focus on the album. We did a tour with our friends of Fire. They're from Stockholm as well last year. Mm-hmm. So just before the tour and right after the tour, we just focused on the album.
So let's talk a little bit now about the new album. It's going to be out soon. Ghostlands, Wounds from a Bleeding Earth. Now, before we get into the album, explain to us the album title and how it pertains to the album itself and the artwork and the artist.
Yeah, so the artwork is made, is from, I really can't pronounce Morbame. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but he's from Germany, and he makes album art when he draws inspiration from nature, lots of forests and everything surrounding that. And that was perfect for what we were looking for. The title, Ghostlands, Wounds from a Bleeding Earth, it reflects the endless cycle of death and rebirth which the earth sees. For each passing phase, only ghosts and specters will remain, and you can hear their wailings and cries until the next phase starts over again. So it's like, and the wounds are man. We are the wounds. We are the one creating the wounds on the earth.
And so is that also what this album is about lyrically? I mean, is that the theme to this album?
Yeah, it is. Though some songs is about the complete destruction of the universe, and while some is just more of a specific character who destroys himself or the people around him in some way. But that's the red going on. So yeah, it is.
So what can you tell us about the album now musically? How did you approach this one musically?
Well, it was Ryd's Heim who wrote most of the songs, and he drew inspiration from Swedish folk music, black metal, of course. Big influence is Vinterfyllet. We have Vindir and Vreid, our inspirations, of course. But it's just overall, I mean, I think it sounds pretty unique. So when people do hear it, they will hear something different, which they haven't heard before.
And like you were saying, too, of course, the quality is better on this one. Did you do anything differently on this one than your EP?
Yeah. First of all, we used Sverker Widgren from Wing Studios. He's a powerhouse when it comes to mixing and producing and recording. He is the mastermind behind Diabolical and Demonical. He's recorded over 200 albums. So we're really, really satisfied. It's high production. It's higher production than you usually hear from the first album from people.
Nice. Now, did you guys have any special guests on it or anything?
Yeah, we actually had 3 guests. Nepenthe from Riket the Netherbird. They did vocals on one song. Then we had Alexandra Moquist, which is a friend of ours. She did some female vocals. And then with Martin Björklund, he plays fiddle on this album, and he plays fiddle on Mona Garm. It's a band here from outside of Stockholm as well. It's really good, so we borrowed them, and they contributed immensely to the album.
And now you guys released a track off of it, Godless Serenade. What is that particular song about, and why did you choose that particular song to be your pre-release?
It wasn't really our first choice to have for a video. When we wanted another song called To Worship, but the more we read more about the lyrics and thinking about where we were supposed to shoot it, we thought that Godless Serenade it showed more of us. It had small atmospheric parts, it has some rock and roll, it has black metal in it, and it really had some attitude. And the song is more or less about you don't need any god to appreciate nature around you, so you can be godless outside in nature and really, really appreciate the world around you.
So is that how the music is throughout this album then too? Is it just like super diverse like that, like you were saying, and it has some like rock elements, it has some black metal elements? I mean, what could you tell us like musically about it?
Well, it's really diverse. Mm-hmm. I think some people will dislike it because it will sound like 5 different bands playing on one album, but that's their problem and their loss. We have, let's say we have one ambient song, we have one pure folk song with just female vocals, fiddle, and acoustic guitar. We have some really fast-paced black metal songs, we have more kind of rock songs, we have atmospheric epic songs. It has so much. It's really, really diverse.
And so about when are you planning a release around?
Hope it will be next year, hopefully maybe February, we're not sure. We will have it official within a few weeks, hopefully, maybe.
And what else is coming up for the band as far as shows and stuff like that?
Yeah, we're next in January 9, mm-hmm. I think. It can't be the 9th because that's a Monday. So yeah. So in January we will play on a pretty big stage with Firespawn, Horna, Demonical, and some other bands. So we're looking forward to that, and we're trying to plan some European tours for next year as well.
And so where can people go to check out more about the band, what you're going to be doing, what releases you have, all that kind of information? What are some of the best sites for people to go to learn all that, Nine?
Well, first is Facebook, so it's just --Wormwood Swee. You can go to our homepage, which needs to be we need to update it a bit, but it's wormwood-official.com. And but it's mostly Facebook at the moment that you should go to if you want the latest news.
Okay, so Nine, thank you very much for taking the time out to do this interview with us, and we look forward to hearing more music from Wormwood off the new album, Ghostlands, Wounds from a Bleeding Earth, and thank you for taking the time out to do this with us today.
Thank you for having me. It was my pleasure.